Wow.
So let's sing happy birthday. And 32 and counting.
Wow.
So let's sing happy birthday.
To you. Happy birthday to you. Happy
And 32.
Happy birthday to you.
Out the door. Channel 54.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Thursday, March 3rd. I hope you're having a really good day. I'm sorry I wasn't online yesterday. I actually have been really busy with the stuff I've been doing on Instagram, and I'm still trying to figure out how to bring the story to YouTube. It's involving this dancer group, this dancers that are part of the 7M management group, and it's really convoluted, and there's a lot of players, and I've been knee deep in this story because I'm like getting associated with all these different people I've never heard of before. And I think you should follow me on Instagram because this is taking hold even with my followers that are into the Duggar stuff because they realize so many overlapping themes between the two groups. One thing that's happening is that Josh Duggar's case is getting closer to sentencing, and we're kind of like winding down on this story because once he goes away for good, I mean, not for good, but you know what I mean, after sentencing, there's going to be just sort of like a lull here. So, you know, as we're talking about what's going on here, we'll be expanding the coverage to other content on this channel. So you're going to see maybe a shift soon. We'll still cover the Duggars, but just so you know, I want to cover other groups, not just the IBLP. So anyways, we are going to talk about Josh Duggar because today is his 34th birthday. Do you actually congratulate people like Josh when they're behind in the clinkers? Do you actually? No? Yes? No? I don't. Okay, that's me. I don't. Okay, so check this out. Fox News is like the Duggars' favorite outlet, and when they had everything come up in 2015, when everything was exposed about Josh, they ran to Megyn Kelly to do an interview. So naturally, a sympathetic outlet like Fox would find a way to make Josh Duggar's birthday sad. Okay, sorry, I'm kind of snarky today. So anyways, today is his 34th birthday, and apparently a source talked to Fox News. Now, sometimes I wonder who the sources are. We know the Bates talked to Fox. Is it the Bates? Is it the Duggars? Who's talking? Does Jim Bob have them on speed dial? Anyways, Josh is staying strong. So the source tells Fox that Josh is staying strong. So this is what they said is, I do think he's staying strong, but anyone is going to struggle through tough times like that. Struggling through tough times. Well, I mean, I guess it's a tough time. This is the first time he's been held accountable, right? It's called facing your consequences and whatever. And then the source continued by saying he's going to have to count on his faith and also the faith of his family to be there with him, and they will be. So his parents and Anna are not going to abandon him, and they are going to lean into their faith. Does this remind you of 2015 when everything came out about Josh and the Duggars put out all those statements and they were just like, we are more resolved, we're closer to God? Why is it that when things like this happen, people become closer to God? Were they further away from God before it happened? You know, I would think if you believed in God, you wouldn't be involved in all of these things to begin with. That's just my thought. I mean, you can't use religion to hide behind bad behavior. Anyways, his parents are going to rely on their faith, and Josh's birthday, if you've paid attention on social media, is usually a very big day. They'd always like do birthday songs and play singing things. And this is what the friend says about the birthday. When you have a birthday with them, you keep it just to the family. It's like 30 or 40 people. Josh's birthday will be a sad day. Every day is going to be a sad day for him. He has children, a wife, he has a family, and he doesn't get to see them. So his birthday is going to be tough. every day every day has got to be tough. That's going to be a part of what he has to go through as he goes through this. Okay, like they're walking through a season. This is actually what's called accountability. But yes, I mean, I'm sure this is tough for him. He made a really horrible decision, and he took horrible actions. And then, I mean, when it comes down to it, really, the toughness is yourself that you can blame for this toughness. That's my opinion again. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time feeling sympathetic for this man. And so the source goes on to say this about future milestones and how difficult it's going to be for his birthday and everything for his kids and his family. He says, there's not an easy day in his life for the next however long. Birthdays, obviously, but probably more so would be the birthdays of Anna and birthdays of his kids. I wouldn't say he'd be centered upon himself. He's going to miss the opportunities to spend with them. I think his children are actually better off with him not around, and their birthdays are safer without him. But that's just my opinion. So Josh and Anna are going to stick it out. And this is what the source says. Anna loves Josh and will stick by his side no matter what. And the Duggar family is leaning on their faith right now. And this is what the insider says. I know the family and their faith is what will get them through anything, period. If they don't like what he did or what he was accused and charged with and found guilty of, they'll always stay by him. It doesn't mean that they think it's okay, but they're going to want him to grow and be able to get through it. They're never going to abandon or anybody in that case. It's interesting that they didn't say that they believe he's guilty. They said what he was accused of, charged with, and found guilty of. They didn't say that they think he's guilty. They just said it doesn't matter if he was accused, charged, and found guilty of these things. They're still going to stand by him. They don't think it's okay, and they're going to want him to grow. I mean, growth is dependent on somebody's ability and willingness to change and somebody's desire to get better. And so far, Josh is declaring his innocence. And he said in court, in a motion 2 days ago, that he maintained his innocence and that the government was persecuting him, basically, by not looking at Caleb Williams and by using an expert to place him at the car lot when all of this content was downloaded. So for growth to happen, and anyone convicted of a crime, they have to admit their guilt. They have to truly be remorseful for what they've done. They have to want to get better. They have to acknowledge they did wrong. And until he can acknowledge he's done wrong and that he did these things, there's going to be no growth. And my fear is that whatever the sentence is that they give to him, that he continues on this path of I'm innocent. I mean, because in one breath, I'm kind of thinking like he's gonna say that he's innocent because he doesn't want Anna to leave him. And as long as he can cling to this like I'm innocent thing, then Anna can cling to the I'm innocent. And then Anna doesn't have to accept that he did it, and they can live in their like denial that this happened. And then everyone can live in denial that wants to still believe that this didn't happen, even though there's overwhelming evidence that it did happen. I understand people have faith, but there's a difference between having faith and just being like ignorant. You can't just say that faith cures everything if you don't do the work to cure yourself or to actually get better. You can't just pray to God and hope things change and have more faith in God and read more Bibles. If there's something wrong with you, you have to get help for it. You have to go to a doctor. You have to do therapy. You have to work through your problems. You have to accept you have a problem. And until he accepts he has a problem, he's not going to change. And I think that's why in situations like this, there's such a high case of reoffending, because some of these men and women don't think they're doing anything wrong. And if you don't think you're doing anything wrong, there's no growth. You know, I can understand a parent wanting wanting the best for their child and wanting their child to improve and grow. But some, you know, there's always that saying is like, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And I don't believe there's a redemption arc for Josh. I don't believe there's a redemption arc for him, period. I think Josh has shown over and over and over again who he is. Josh has told the world who he is in his actions, in what he did with what his downletting was, in the lies that he's told all these years later, in the infidelity against his wife. There's just been so many times that he's shown us over and over and over again who he is. This is a 34-year-old man. His brain is fully formed. You can change in your 30s, sure, but you have to want to change. He's got programmed hardwires of how to lie. My only hope is that at some point during this process, he actually accepts responsibility and says, yes, I did this, and I'm sorry. And then he goes into therapy. And maybe that will help. Maybe it won't. But he's not going to get there if he just stands in this position of, they framed me. And when it comes to the kids being sad that he's missing the kid's birthday, the kids are better off without him. And I think the government would admit that too. So sorry that I can't be more positive. I don't really celebrate men that do what they did with Josh. But, you know, it's hard. It gets harder and harder and harder to defend Anna the more and more she stands by him. I understand it's hard. You always want to put yourself in their shoes and be like, okay, yeah, I mean, she's been indoctrinated and she's brainwashed and this and that. At some point, Anna has to wake up and do the right thing for her kids. And unfortunately, she just doesn't have anyone in her life that is getting to her that will tell her anything differently. And her father does prison ministry, so I'm sure Michael is going to be all about trying to cure Josh now with his, I don't know, ministry. Do you think Josh is going to start a ministry? What if Josh starts a ministry when he gets into the federal system? Oh, look for the Duggars to get a reality show after he gets out. It would so happen. Okay, so are you celebrating Josh's birthday? Do you believe what the friend says, or are you just like, this is all a bunch of baloney? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.